What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Ghouls Gaming and Tech channel. We have Black Myth Wukong. Finally, it is finally out. And you know, if you've been watching this channel or if you don't know, we always do the best gameplay and visual settings for any particular game that we're interested in. And this one is no different. This game has been hyped up so much for the past few years, and more specifically within the past few months, because it's released and now it's here and we're going to play it. So I want to give you guys the best settings to set your game so you can have the most immersive experience. Now, I always give a disclaimer. Some of these settings might be different for you, like you might want to change some depending on your preference, but that is completely up to you. But this is in general. I've been playing games all my life. These are usually the general settings that most people like, and that gives you the best experience. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button if this information was helpful by the end. And if you're new or returning, make sure to hit that like button. It's definitely appreciated. It's the best way that I and YouTube knows you guys enjoy this kind of content. So now let's hop into gameplay. So the tutorials and the messages, or tutorial messages, enables HUD messages for teaching gameplay mechanics. This is a new game, a new game developer to most people. So I would say leave that on just so you can get a grasp of how to play this. If you get a grasp later and you want to turn it off, feel free to turn it off, but I would say leave that on because there's going to be a lot of elements in this that you're going to have to get used to just because it's a new type of game, new IP. So auto switch lock on, I would leave this on. It enables automatic switching to a new target after the current target dies. From what I can tell, these boss battles and these battles are going to be pretty epic. So I would say leave this on so you can kind of auto switch. Some of these enemies are going to be a little bit tougher to kill, so you're going to die a lot in this game. So I would say leave that on just so it can help you in those combat settings where it gets a little bit tight. Auto lock on when attacking. So I would have this off because when you're attacking someone and there's multiple enemies and some people come from the side or behind of you, you want to be able to address those targets without being annoyed and frustrated that since it's auto lock, if it were to be on, it would stick you on particularly who you're primarily aiming at, and you won't be able to address the enemies that are attacking you from elsewhere as quickly as you want to. So I would say leave this off because you want to be able to switch targets while you're in combat. Auto target when attacking. So it says enables automatic targeting without centering the camera on the target. This is very important. Leave this on again because it will allow you to not have to readjust your camera every single time. If you're addressing an enemy behind you, it will let you strike them without having to pull your camera way over there every time, and it might throw your orientation off. So I would say leave this on. Enables target without centering the camera on that target. Camera assist, you want this on as well. Automatically reorients your camera in the direction of your movement. So obviously if you're moving in a certain direction, you want that camera to be looking in that direction, if that makes any sense. Show headgear. Again, this is more so preference. I want to get the whole grasp of what this character is like, so I'm going to leave this on. HUD, character status HUD. So again, I like my games to be a little bit more immersive, and I like to have minimal things on my HUD to keep me immersed. So this character status HUD, it says enables character status display on the HUD. You're gonna want, like I said, you're gonna want to get used to this game first. Want to see what your HUD offers. If you don't want those things showing all the time, then you can turn it off. You can put it on always display or always hide. I'll put it on automatic, which basically means your HUD will be dynamic. So it'll show sometimes, but not all the time, basically. Description information for your controller enables brief information about on-hand item spells to be displayed when holding down the R2 button. Again, this is important. There's going to be new elements to this game, spells, all that good stuff like they're talking about. Just like in the Hogwarts Legacy game, I needed to know what when I held the R trigger, what each spell was what, because certain symbols I remember, or certain colors I remember them, but certain ones I didn't remember on the other hand. So I will leave this on just in case you have a brain fart and you're like, wait, what did this spell do? And then you can just quickly remember. So leave that on. Transformation attack prompts enables button prompts for attacks to be displayed on the HUD while in transformation state. This is basically saying, hey, do you want to know what you can and can't do while this is on, while you're in that transformation state? So leave that on because you're going to have different transformations throughout the progression of the game, and some transformation characters might be different from the others The buttons might be the same, but the actual thing that it does will be different, if that makes any sense. Damage numbers, you can leave that off. Unless you really like that RPG element of damage numbers, you can turn that on, but I would typically leave that off just to make you a little bit more immersed. And plus, at the end of the day, if they have a health bar, those damage numbers don't really do anything for you. Once the health is gone, you know, they're dead. It's black and white. It's very simple. So damage numbers, I don't see you really needing that on. Enemy health bars, obviously leave that on. Boss health bars, same thing. Again, if you want to be more immersed, you can turn that off. For the enemy health bars, you can turn that off, actually. I really only want to know the boss health bars because those are the main ones that you're going to be chomping away at that health throughout your entire interaction with that character. And your, regular routine enemies that you come across throughout the world, you might not really care or need to see their health bars as much because for the most part, they should be fairly decent to okay to beat. So you can turn the regular enemy health bars off, boss ones on. Lock on reticle. This comes on. I turn this off. It says it enables the HUD to display the lock on reticle. So automatically, if you remember what we talked about earlier, your camera will automatically lock on to your target. Do you need a reticle on top of that as well to show you which character you're locked on? Unless you're facing a wave of enemies, in that situation, maybe, yeah, you might want that on. But more than likely, your camera will precisely show you what you're aiming at and what you're locked on. So you don't need that reticle. Again, we're trying to be more immersed as possible. Interaction prompts. Basically, when you walk up to something that you can interact with, this is going to let you know, can you actually interact with that? Instead of wandering around aimlessly, wondering, can I interact with this? And trying to press that button every time. So I'll leave that on just so you can know. Low health alert. This comes on medium. I changed this to low. Medium basically is halfway. Your health is halfway. Do you need to know, hey, your health is low? No. I need to know when it's actually low. So it says it enables alerts on the HUD when the character's health drops below a certain threshold. Let me know when it is low. I don't need to know when it's medium or halfway. I can figure that out on my own. Just flash the screen or whatever the indication is when it is actually low. Auto or allow data collection. I turn this off. It's just them trying to see how much you play the game and getting data and stuff like that. Turn it off. Doesn't aid you at all. It's just to say for them later, hey, we got this many people playing our game. Isn't this awesome? Turn it off. Camera, leave this on default unless you're used to playing it inverted. However, you're going to notice when you first load up the game, it's going to give you an image calibration option, basically to best fit your display and your HDR settings. So make sure to calibrate your image. That's what that is right there. And then graphics mode. This is important. A lot of game, and this is going to be a visually stunning game. They're using the Unreal Engine, so it's going to be stunning. As you can see right here, graphics mode, performance mode, it says it lowers the resolution to achieve a higher frame rate. Balancing resolution and frame rate. And then quality mode is lowest frame rate to achieve a higher resolution. I found with certain games, not all of them, but with this one in particular, they do have ray tracing on this game. It just doesn't show you that option, but there is ray tracing on here. Some games perform well with quality mode on as far as the performance and frames per second. Some perform not so well. And I noticed some, they perform well, but the quality drops off if you put it in performance mode. And then balance, it doesn't really do much for you. So I would suggest, as far as this right here, try out quality mode first. See how the frame rate is on your particular device you're playing it on, whether it's PC or console. And if the frame rates are really bothering you that much, change it to balance. I would not suggest performance because your resolution is going to suffer, and you will definitely notice it. And this game is way too beautiful for it to suffer that much. So I need the crispness of the graphics. For those of you who don't know, and I know most of you guys do know this, motion blur is when you're moving, you're running all fast, you're doing all this high-speed stuff, and it basically puts the frames around you, everything on the side, it blurs it out to emphasize that motion moving pretty quick. But it also can be a little bit overwhelming at times. So I would put motion blur on weak. It automatically comes on strong. I'll put this on weak. I don't recommend putting this on strong, because it's going to be a lot of blurriness and you want to see all the details that are around you. So I'll put motion blur on weak. Camera shake, leave that on 10. We want to get that full experience. And then sound right here, all this stuff is 100. Dialogue, music, effects, overall, all that stuff is good. That is, to me and to most people, the best visual and gameplay settings to go about your playthrough with this game. I will be doing a full gameplay walkthrough on my channel, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Trust me when I tell you, it will be very entertaining and hilarious. And yeah, that's all you need to go forth and explore this world of Wukong. So thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.